Oh, that looks dead on now. And we're still level from front to back, so we look good. And we're going to trace the outline of the profile of the side on the cabinet itself. And when we trace the profile, that will leave us with the perfect part that we're supposed to cut out. Got a pencil. And there, as you can see, I think you can see, I'll zoom in, but that's what we're going to have to cut out right there. That's the exact profile. Now once that's gone, the control panel should sit right down on it. And like I said, we do have to think about there may be a slight notch that has to be cut out or just nicked out just slightly there for the top piece that'll be on the control panel. But I can figure that later, and to be honest, worst comes to worst, I could just bevel the top piece that sits on top of the box and make it, you know, accept the edge bevel on that perfectly, and so it'll just go straight against that. I would kind of like to just cut a slight notch out so it'll kind of recess into there a little bit, because that's the way the Gauntlet Legends cabinet is, and I kind of like the way that sets. But we'll find out after we get the cut made. So now we've got to do the other side. I'm going to do that off camera. Probably the next thing you'll see is us with the cabinet outside. Okay, we just had to reset the breaker. We started this once already, but we don't have much light and it's about to storm on us. So Cameron's holding the flashlight. We're going to try to get these cuts done and get the cabinet back in before we get rained on. First cut done. Now there may be a small part that needs to be cut off with a small handsaw in the house next, and so we'll leave these chunks attached if it doesn't go far enough to cut it off, and we'll try not to break them off when we move them in the house, because we don't want to have to come way past here because it will look ugly even though it's going to be under the control panel. One more cut. Flashlight, please. Very hard to see. Basically can't see. Cameraman, come around the back of the cabinet over here. Your job is double duty. Hold the flashlight right there. Our blade's going to be hitting right in there, and that's where I need it. perfect. Just hold it there. Do not move it. Pretty nice, not too shabby. Like I said, there's just a little bit on there. We're going to leave it. We're going to flip the cabinet over now. We're going to cut the other side. We're going to try not to break this off because we'll cut these with a handsaw when we get inside the house. It's raining. Get right there and shine the light down here. I didn't know how to signal you without letting the saw go, so I had to stop.
Okay.
I appreciate you helping. We'll get it done. Almost done. Get sprinkled on a little bit. Okay, you might have to get on the steps because I can't see over here. You're trying to keep it where my blade is, if you can see my blade. I know it's hard to see. See, on over here. My blade's right here, camera. There you go. That's good. Thank you. And this is my nephew Cameron waiting for the rain to calm down. We barely got the cabinet on the porch before it started pouring rain, but we did manage to get some decent cuts. They look pretty decent anyway. But the rain's coming down. I don't know if you guys can see, but we managed to get the MAME cab up on the porch. And I'm blowing it off with the air hose there. Getting all the sawdust off of it. But if the rain calms down, he'll be able to get home before he gets in trouble with his mother. Okay guys, got the main cabinet on back in the house here. You can see our cuts there. Went pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. Maybe not quite as pretty right there. But when you're freehanding something like that, and either you're coming up to an edge like that with a little bit of an angle on it or going into it, it's a little hard to get started and stop. But that cut there looks almost dead perfect on my line. And on the inside you can see what happened is we got to the corner, and with most circular saws you can't make a cut like that in the corner unless you go all the way across, and you end up cutting across in both directions to get the piece to come out. So I just stopped short so that the inside here is the side that's going to have to be cut out with maybe a handsaw or a Dremel or a jigsaw or something, just to finish those two cuts up to the corner. But you see on the outside it's got a pretty nice corner there, so the circular blade can make contact in both directions on one side, but on one side you're going to have to run completely over to make it actually knock the piece of wood out. And that's the way we did on both sides. But I made sure that here on the inside there, that's the piece that's going to have to be cut on out. So if it doesn't look quite right, or if I do it by hand and I get a little off or something, I can always come back and fix it up, and you won't see it because the control panel will be sitting on it, you know, pretty much for eternity, unless you have to take the control panel off. But on the outside, again, on this side, you can see, whoops, got a pretty good corner there. Stayed pretty much right on my line like I needed to, and we came up into that angle of the cabinet just about an inch or so, and I made sure that wasn't going to take away too much from the angle here, so that the big 25-inch monitor will have room for the whole display to be, you know, facing front, and there's still enough room for the back of the chassis and everything to be behind it without, you know, impeding that any. But I think the cuts went pretty good to be as rushed as they were, since we had a rainstorm moving in and it's still raining out there right now. I just hope that my lines are cut plumb and level enough, and the control panel sets even on both sides and doesn't wobble about. But we'll find out. I'll get a handsaw or something and I'll finish those cuts and knock those pieces out, and I'll show you the finished product. Hey guys, I'm going to proceed today with trying to cut the rest of this out on each side so that we can do a dry fit of the control panel on the cab. And going to use my old trusty jigsaw. This thing's probably as old as I am. If you guys have seen any of these orange tools from Black & Decker, I'm pretty sure that thing is 70s or early 80s, probably 70s. But anyway, it still works. They don't make them like they used to. I'm going to use my old jigsaw. I've got some new Piranha blades here, and these are supposed to cut pretty fast, but hopefully it won't be too rough of a cut. And I'll get to doing that now. Maybe we'll let you watch on camera. Just wanted to show you real quick. I got my framing square clamped on here, and it's so I can make a line on the inside to finish that cut up. Just kind of give me a reference to go by, because on the inside here, it's just like over here. You can see that the cut just stops short about an inch for the vertical and the horizontal cut. And I just need to make a pencil line there to just kind of help guide me. But I'm going to be looking over on this side as my blade's going through, just to make sure I don't cut a little bit of a wavy line or anything. And it's pretty easy to see, even though this is old black paint or something that they had in here. It's still pretty easy to see the pencil lead on top of that. But let's go ahead and take these off. Get my framing square out of the way. So yeah, the line's pretty easy to see. But I'm going to go ahead and try to cut that. And hopefully jigsaw don't go too crazy, because I do have to insert it in the cut when I start. Got that part of the cut pretty good. Probably went about, I'd say, a 1/16 of an inch too far on my cut, but it doesn't matter. I'm coming back over all this with fresh black laminate, and it's going to cover up any little tiny mess ups on that little cut. But just went maybe just a hair farther than I wanted to, but it's not too bad at all. Now I'm thinking if I want to go on the outside or the inside. I think I want to go on the outside on this one. There we go. Little piranha blades cut pretty good. Doesn't look too bad. Might want to sand it just a hair right there. And there's our piece. Okay, let's do the other side and make sure that's in frame here. Yeah, you can see the other side. I have to slide the cabinet forward just a little. I think it's just far enough. Now we gotta do the down cut. See if I can do it like this. Kind of hard to see my blade. There it is. I didn't think I was through it. It was just sitting there. It actually just just set itself right there and wasn't moving. But we got it. Second piece out. And it didn't make too much dust being here in the house, but it a little bit rainy weather outside and I didn't want to take that thing outside again. But there's the two chunks that we cut out. Pretty much identical. Very identical. So it was pretty good measuring. Actually worked out very well. Cut actually looks pretty good. Now let's see, kind of the moment of truth, what that control panel looks like sitting here. Sweet. Kind of a preliminary of what it's going to look like. I'm going to kind of measure the offset on each side. See how much it's overhanging. That's about 2 1/4 inch there. And about 2 1/4 inch there. Well, I hit it just guessing. Pretty good. That's going to be where it mounts. The overhang in the front about 2 3/4 inch and 2 3/4 inch, so it's all perfect. I mean, dead on. Can't ask for much better than that. But guys, that's what it's going to look like kind of in place there, and then we're going to have the top that comes on here. And it's probably going to hang off just a little bit. I haven't made my mind up if I want to square it off, round it, put a curve across the front, or one of my ideas is just to come with a slight angle here and then a flat area kind of, you know, parallel to the control panel box, and then another slant right there and just hang over maybe about 1 inch on each side. But I'm trying to make my mind up how to do that. That's why I haven't actually cut that piece yet. And also been trying to make my mind up whether I want to hinge it from the front so it open up like a Mortal Kombat or the Gauntlet Legends, or if I want to hinge it from the back so it flips up like that. Most likely I want to hinge it from right here so it opens this way, but that's just something I'm still pondering. And if you flip it up that way, there's a good chance the joysticks and stuff could bump the screen, since this screen is not going to be recessed very far, so that may not be a very good idea. But anyway, it's kind of preliminary what it's going to look like.